Angry undertakers have gathered outside Home Affairs head office. They're accusing the department of undermining them. The National Funeral Practitioners Association of South Africa is demanding that the department speed up the issuing of death certificates and to allow recognized funeral associations to register certificates.
The government department are so corrupt in a way that they want their friends to dominate the industry. I want to make a good example here. When a black man comes in, especially with the Department of Home Affairs, they want all the requirements to be met. But when other races come in, they don't care. Just now, Old Mushwan had opened a funeral parlor. They were lacking 2 of the requirements, but they were given the designation numbers. When you go to the Muslim society, they are all granted the designation numbers without them having to produce the COC. What is the difference when the black man comes into Home Affairs? Is the black man different from the white or Indian-owned companies? All, I'm telling you, all black-owned small companies are referred to as fly-by-night. But when Indians and white people open small companies, they are called small companies. But with us, we are referred to as a fly-by-night.
Funeral parlours say they want to engage with Home Affairs to sort out some of the department's challenges.
There are so many challenges. We as the funeral parlours, we have so many challenges. For instance, the red tape, I understand the red tape that the government wants we, the funeral industry, to comply, which is very important. Compliance is non-negotiable, but I was once a small undertaker, I was once a beginner. I once did not have a mortuary. So I started as a beginner. I wouldn't say now that I have a mortuary and think that now those who do not have mortuaries must not be able to operate. I think the government needs to come into place and sit down with the undertakers and see how they can meet each other halfway. Because really and truly, there will always be beginners. And not everyone, when they start, they will have all the necessary equipment or all the necessary requirements. But then probably maybe the government should give them a timeline to say maybe after a certain period, maybe 2 years or 3 years, you must be able to have certain. But closing them down and saying no, they can't be able to operate or they cannot be able to go to the Home Affairs and get certificates. And I think what needs to happen is that the government and the funeral industry need to meet, sit on the table and see what they can do.
Civil society is urging government to take a more aggressive stance against Israel. South African BDS Coalition Acting Director Roshan Dadu says the country should stop trading with the apartheid state. Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa has condemned Israel's attacks on Palestinians.
I honestly think that in South Africa, we of all countries should be standing up much more loudly as government and calling out Israel as an apartheid state, which has been done most recently by Human Rights Watch. If an organization, a renowned human rights organization like that, has concretely proven that Israel carries out acts of apartheid, we really are insisting that our government take a lead on this issue. The Palestinian people look to South Africa because they know we've experienced the same sort of thing. And they look to us for having managed in the end, finally, to get rid of our apartheid government. So we really have to insist on our government taking a much stronger stand. And that's why we're also targeting the Israeli Trade Office. We don't want to do trade with an apartheid state, as we expected of the international community during our struggle.
ANC veteran and former cabinet minister Ronnie Kasrils has made an impassioned call for solidarity with Palestinians.
Palestinian people, Nelson Mandela's South Africa stands by you. We condemn Israel's criminal actions. This new round of ethnic cleansing of East Jerusalem, the eviction of people, the destruction of their homes, and their sacrilege in storming the Al-Aqsa Mosque. We stand with your resistance, as in South Africa, the people's resistance supported by international solidarity in your just cause will see you win your freedom. We stand with you. Amantla, Viva Palestine.
The Zionist Federation is refuting claims that Israel is an apartheid state.
I absolutely reject these insinuations that Israel has an apartheid state or has any apartheid practices. That is an absolutely false attempt to hijack the memory of apartheid under South Africa and import it into a foreign conflict. I think it's extremely problematic, extremely dangerous. I strongly reject any insinuation by BDS that the Jewish state, the only state of Jews in the entire world, the homeland of the Jewish people, is not legitimate. Israel is legitimate.
There's a story that's developing that we are following where tensions are brewing outside the Home Affairs head office in Pretoria. Let's take you live there now.
Yes, the police are firing rubber bullets now. A stun grenade, in fact, just went off moments ago. The police are trying to open the roads. I understand they've been blocked off by the protesting UTT members, saying that for the next 7 days they're shutting down all Home Affairs offices across the country. You remember that negotiations have failed inside, with the top 6 leadership of the UTT coming out saying that the Home Affairs Department is asking to revert back to them within 7 days. But since those discussions have failed, they're now saying that they'll protest outside every Home Affairs offices across the country. We heard 2 stun grenades just go off moments ago, and now rubber bullets being fired by the police. Even just on the side here, they're running around, policemen looking around for the UTT members with those shotguns loaded with rubber bullets in hand. That's the situation happening outside the headquarters of Home Affairs in Pretoria after failed negotiations inside. You'd understand UTT is calling for better treatment even for the black funeral parlors, saying that they don't get equal treatment, and while all the regulations are asked from them when applying for the certificate of compliance, those same regulations aren't asked in full for others, including government, we understand, and some private officials. But the tensions are running high now after the UTT members blocked off the roads here, and the police officers are now trying to open up the roads once again. I'm trying to give you some natural sound of what is happening, as the police saying they'll make it a line and move closer there.
Okay, Aviwe Mtila there reporting live to us on the ground in Pretoria outside the head office of Home Affairs. We stay with these visuals. We stay with you, Aviwe. We are watching what is unfolding after the earlier firing of rubber bullets, as you were reporting now. So we'll stay with these live visuals. We're bringing you the live visuals as it happens outside the Home Affairs head office in Pretoria, the capital city of the country. Angry undertakers gathering outside there, trying to negotiate the issue of
Stunt grenades once more. Stunt grenades going off once more. Stunt grenades from the police going off once more. This is the leadership, we understand, being asked to move, forced out by the police. Some of them tried to move inside the Home Affairs offices, but the police are now saying they're forcefully moving them away. The Home Affairs offices, the Department of Home Affairs, the headquarters here in Pretoria, they're insisting that they want to open up traffic once more. You'd understand UTT saying that they want to stage a protest, sleep in fact.
Well, that's taking place right now. Those are live visuals we're bringing to you. The Aviwe Mtila at the scene. It looks like there's a haggling there between members of the Undertakers Association that's been protesting there with the police. Let's listen in and hear what is being said.
This is not Marikana. In South Africa, we are not stepchildren in this country. We are staying here. We rather die here. We can't leave. This is not Marikana, no. When I'm from Ungano, when I'm on time, because I'm on time when I stand please, inside on time, please. Don't shoot. Don't shoot at them, please.
Please. Wait. There's no need to Come again. I'm trying, but you're shooting. Don't shoot. Why are you shooting?
I'm not. If you didn't shoot.
Wait.
Control your people.
Yeah, I am. But don't shoot. Please.
Don't push us back. Don't push us back.
No. Wait. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Stun grenades once more. Oh, my camera. Our camera has been hit by a rock. Our camera was hit by a rock. But stun grenades going off one more. One gentleman seems to be apprehended, going to be arrested by the police as another stun grenade just went off. I'm sure we've heard at least 6 stun grenades in the course of the last 5 minutes going off. You saw that heated confrontation between the UTT members and the police here. And they're still coming forward. When I try to bring you the action once more as we try to move closer. The police are calling back up, calling for some of the police officers to come up, but the altercation is still heated. It looks like Umtogozisi has been just hit by a rock, so just excuse some of those shots that we'll show you. We can't even come close enough now because our camera operator was struck by a rock in the hand, so he's using one hand at the moment. But it's a heated altercation here and confrontation between the UTT officials and the policemen. The police are wanting to get them away, but they're quite heated, not wanting to hear much from the police. Police ready there, even have shields to try and block off what might come. There are rocks that are being thrown. Even our camera operator, Umtogozisi, was hit by a rock and is currently bleeding in one of his fingers. As this altercation gets heated between the South African Police Service and the Unification Task Team of the funeral industry. They're calling for easier regulations and, in fact, easier access to the certificate of compliance and calling for fair treatment across the board. But they've been told by the Department of Home Affairs, we hear, that they will be responded to within the next 7 days. They then said earlier on that those 7 days will be spent waiting outside every Home Affairs offices. Those 7 days, in fact, will be spent closing off the services of Home Affairs, which was the bone of contention, because they then took to the street and, in fact, they stopped the traffic here. It wasn't more than 20 minutes, in fact, when the South African Police Service decided they'd had enough and, in fact, tried to call them off. We've heard at least 6 stun grenades go off and a slew of rubber bullets as well being fired towards the Unification Task Team of the funeral industry.
Hi, Aviwe. Let's listen in.
Especially me and you, trying to calm people down. While the people were calmed, that white guy came with the Ilokuza. There was no reason. They were standing out of the road, and we were in control of the situation.
No, it's fine.
Like we are right now.
It's fine. There is something that you do not see. Sorry. There is something that you do not see. There is somebody thrown. You see that stone?
That was
no.
I saw the stone, but
listen. After that stand went on, everybody ran away. This thing was thrown before.
No. We're not going to resolve this if it's never honest.
Can you speak grenade first and then the stone?
You shot the stand.
You shot the stand first.
Before anything else.
They threw a stone.
And then only then that somebody threw a stone. Hold on. I give you a chance.
And we were peaceful standing. We were peaceful.
Let us get our guy. Please, let us get our guy. We will disperse.
When we disperse, then we will discuss it.
Later, I'm asking, with due respect.
That one will be said by the rest of you. But listen up.
Okay, no, for what?
Do you know that walking the road is unlawful? Okay.
No.
Listen up. My lead. Babu Mate.
We cannot open a small court here. Let us get away from it.
Okay,
Let us discuss it. But now we cannot open a court here.
Agri, you arrested.
No. Let's. Can we resolve? Can I speak to you, Mina? Please. I want to talk to you. Can I talk to you?
We are not finishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, let's open the room.
Please. We can't even stand outside and talk.
Let's open the room.
Please open the road. Can you stand outside and talk? Please. Can you stand outside and talk so that we can open the road? Yes, I'm telling them.
We spoke enough. Let the road be open.
Muzi Sangwa from the Unification Task Team of Funeral Parlours trying to come to their members as they try to reach discussions with the South African Police Service. We heard Muzi calling for one of the people that have been arrested to be released. The gentleman that we saw being arrested being released, then they will then disperse. But the police seem a bit reluctant to do that. We're going to try and give you more of the conversations that are happening around here.
I'm saying to you, we were in control of the situation. There was no reason for him to. Please speak to him. I want to.
What is it? No.
Coming up once more as the leadership of UTT trying to meet the South African Police Service halfway after we heard several stun grenades and rubber bullets go off. In fact, one of our colleagues, Mtokozis, was hit by a rock amid all of that chaos that we saw ensue just moments ago. Now it looks like the leadership of UTT is trying to call off the members of UTT on the ground as they try to reach some settlement. You remember this is around the certificate of compliance from the Department of Home Affairs in enabling funeral parlours and undertakers to do business. They required for the stringent measures and in fact asking for red tape to be eased to make it easier for them to operate. But the Department of Home Affairs, we hear, says it'll give them, they're asking for 7 days and then they'll give them the reply. UTT then said that they'll spend those 7 days closing off every Home Affairs office around the country, in fact threatening to sleep. We saw even some of the gates here at the Department of Home Affairs have already been locked off. The cars that tried to come out of these gates of the headquarters of Home Affairs in Pretoria were stopped on their tracks, told to turn around. There's a rock there on the ground. In fact, that's the rock that hit our camera operator Mtokozisi as he was trying to bring you those visuals moments after that stun grenade just went off. It was about the 6th stun grenade, in fact, Bradan, that we heard go off, and a slew of rubber bullets that has been constantly going off for the last 10 minutes as the UTT members tried to shut off this street that's right in front of the Home Affairs officers' headquarters. Now we see the traffic, in fact, is moving, and I'm going to just bring in Mtokozisi's hand to show you the rock where it hit, and in fact, he was just injured in his right hand, so you'd forgive us for some of the shaky visuals that we'll be bringing you. Mtokozisi just suffered that slash from that rock there. But it seems like the situation is getting a bit calmer now as we're trying to come close once again to listen in on the conversations and see if we can hear what's going to happen.
Release that guy. We've opened the road. You said just open the road to release the guy. Please release the guy.
Take him out, I will release him. I've never said that. No.
That's what you said. That is what you said. You're negotiating in perfect. And the guy was arrested for what I do not know. Because he was inside the yard. He had one policeman. Had no reason for that grenade. No reason whatsoever. We were standing like this. Me and yourself were in charge of the situation.
Our member who was arrested for nothing because he was inside the yard. He was locked inside the yard.
What's going to happen going forward? What's going to happen?
This is what is happening. That white guy came with the grenade. We were standing peacefully there. There's no reason why they should shoot at us. White people burnt a police van. White people had guns. Nobody shot at them.
No, nothing.
Simply because we're black and people must shoot at us. What must we do in the next march? Must we bring guns as well? Is that the statement that these police are sending?
It's a problem.
No.
You said that you're going to move back. Is that going to happen? What's going to happen now?
We were already moving. We were already moving. There's no reason why they should have shot at us in the first place.
For no reason.
Yes, the member was arrested. The member came inside. He was coming from inside.
This white policeman.
You don't arrest someone because you saw a stone coming. You don't.
What's going to happen now?
Otherwise, they must arrest us all.
Tell me something.
It can't be.
The blocking of roads and the intimidation of motorists. What's your response to that?
No motorist was intimidated.
No one was intimidated. This is not the first strike to block the road. It's not the first. We were in control of the situation. We went and tried to get people out of the road. And these monkeys started shooting at us.
But just one more thing. You threatened to close off Home Affairs for the next 7 days. Does that mean your services as well as funeral parlors will be closed?
It goes without saying. How are we going to bury if we don't have death certificate? It's a simple logic. So because Home Affairs must deal with this issue. They are inconsistent. They are liars. They don't have integrity, especially the DDG. So they will wait for 7 days. They will wait for 7 days. We will withhold our services. That's an unfortunate part. And it's a pity our family members are going to be affected, not because of our doing, but because of the doings of Home Affairs.
Threats of closing up funeral parlors for the next 7 days as the confrontations get heated here. The traffic is now flowing once more, but the tensions are still ripe as the UTT leadership tries to converge once more and forge a way forward. They were willing to even back off if the arrested member of UTT was let off, but the police just said now that wasn't part of their agreement, suggesting that they will not release that arrested member of the UTT. They're now converging once more, trying to forge a way forward, but you understand this is around the easing of the red tape for undertakers, especially the black undertakers, to do business. They came here, in fact, after a communique was given out by the Department of Home Affairs just 2 days ago, saying that they'd met with the leadership of UTT, they were in agreement with the leadership of UTT, but in speaking to them yesterday, they suggested that that was not the case, and in fact, they're forging ahead with today's protest. We've heard at least 6 stun grenades today and a slew of rubber bullets being fired towards the UTT leadership after the failed meeting that happened some hour ago. We're just going to try and get closer now to hear the UTT leadership as they once more converge and plan their way forward. But we heard the threats of the Home Affairs officers being stopped for the next 7 days, and in fact we heard that even undertakers and funeral parlors might be closed off for the next 7 days. What's going to happen going forward, Nabdam?
We are trying to get our guys out, so we are going to renegotiate with the police. Get him to release him.
If he's not released, then what's going to happen?
Oh no, I mean the justice must take its course. They're not arresting for what? Because nobody can.
Some of the leadership, they're trying to go and negotiate the release of that one gentleman that we saw being arrested by the police. They say they might be lenient in terms of him being released. They might disperse here. But if it's not released, it looks like the chaos that we're seeing here and the tensions that have been brewing could continue for quite some time right now.
Yeah, Aviwe, it looks like that standoff is likely to continue for some time. Earlier we had the police, you were told, our viewers as well, they were asking for reinforcements. Have more police arrived on the scene to try and deal with the situation?
Well, there's a number of police vans just on the street making a line. I can count at least 6 from where I'm standing from, and at least 20 police officers on the ground here trying to monitor the situation. Seems a bit calmer than what we saw a bit earlier on, but the police were in fact calling for reinforcements and in fact wanted to make a line that would push away the members of the UTT here. It seems like the leadership is renegotiating the terms of them dispersing, saying that they will disperse if the member that was arrested is let off and in fact taken off. But the police now suggest that that wasn't any term of agreement. And in fact, it seems like that will not happen. But the leadership here is still saying that they'll give us feedback then after negotiating with the police to see what will happen going forward. But of course, there have been those threats of all the Home Affairs officers across the country being shut off for the next 7 days until Home Affairs responds to them. And then in talking to some of the leaders just moments ago, they suggest that this might even have a broader implication when it comes to the funeral parlors and the undertakers, suggesting that they will have to then close off their offices as well. The funeral parlors and the undertakers, majority around the country, which you could only imagine the ramifications of closing off those undertakers.
And just quickly, Aviwe, while I have you, how's Mthokozisi's hand? Earlier you said his hand was bleeding.
He is trying to relax it at this moment. He's trying to relax it, just move it a little less. I actually want a word from Mthokozisi to find out how he's feeling. Mthokozisi, I need a quick word with you. How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, the hand feels broken.
He says the hand feels broken. It was a huge rock. I'm not sure if he can show you one more time.
I think
that rock there. It was a huge rock.
I think that now that the situation is calmer, Aviwe, we're gonna let go. We're gonna leave you now. We can see the size of that rock there, so that Mthokozisi can get some attendance. And we've seen things are calmer. There's negotiations going on. We'll leave this live crossing now, so that maybe Mthokozisi can go and get some assistance for his hand that was hit by that rock. Thank you very much, Aviwe Mtila there, and Mthokozisi, the cameraman, whom we understand was injured by one of the rocks that was thrown by somebody in that protest involving angry undertakers who had gathered outside the Home Affairs head office in Pretoria, Kotswane. They accuse the Home Affairs Department of undermining them and that they're not getting the necessary assistance to be able to register death certificates, and they are now threatening a 7-day shutdown. So we saw that live. At least one of the stun grenades was fired while we were live in a live crossing with Aviwe Mtila. He's counted at least 6 today. The situation currently seemingly calm, but Aviwe is on the ground tracking it, and hopefully Mthokozisi, the cameraman, will also get some assistance for what he thinks is a broken hand after he was hit by a rock by one of the protesters.